Kathmandu is congested, traffic is intense, it's bumper traffic all the time, even during the day when it's not rush hour these days. And finding parking is a nightmare sometimes, especially when you really need it. You really don't find it. And so today I have a compact city EV car called the Series Mini EV that I will be walking through and reviewing. It's also called the Series E1 in some other international markets. And straight off the bat, what I can tell you is that it's like a European smart car or a Japanese K car. Small on the outside, but big on the inside. And in Nepal, it is basically sold in two ranges. One is a standard range of 180 kilometers. It has a battery capacity of 13.8 kilowatt hours and a motor capacity of 25 kilowatts. And this car basically comes in two trims, a base variant and a full option variant. Then you have the slightly bigger, longer range that is estimated to give about 220 kilometers in a full charge with a slightly bigger battery of 16.8 kilowatt hours and a slightly bigger motor of 30 kilowatts. And the best thing about both of these cars is that the peak power, the Newton meter it produces is both 100 Newton meter. So in terms of acceleration, pull, they're both the same. And the charging of this car, it's at the front, which honestly is a blessing because you can just slot in your car head first into the charger and it's bang center aligned. And it's not as inconvenient at your home where you know how to park, but in public chargers sometimes because there are other cars parked around, this I feel is the easiest. And so it comes with a AC charger. You can charge this at 3.3 kilowatts, and the lesser 180 km range will take about 3.5 to 4 hours from up to 100, and the longer 220 range variant will probably take around 4.5 hours, 4 to 4.5 hours. But all in all, a one-night charge after every 3-4 days of usage should be enough. I wanted to talk about the chemical composition of the battery. It's called a lithium iron phosphate battery. It's also known as LFP in short. And there are a lot of different type of battery types in EV cars. You hear NMC in Teslas, you hear blade batteries in BYDs, you hear lithium ion polymers in Hyundais and Kias, but this is an LFP, lithium iron phosphate battery, and it primarily has two advantages over the rest. One, it's chemically more stable and thermally more stable, and so it can discharge and charge a lot faster and thus is less susceptible to like overheating and burning out and catching fire. And two, it supposedly has more charging cycles in it compared to the other types of batteries I just mentioned, and as a result, the deterioration on this car's battery, the lithium iron phosphate, is supposed to happen a lot slower compared to the other batteries. So as a customer, that's great news. It means it's going to retain its full 180 or 220 km charge for a longer duration compared to its competitors in the market. And the thing about LFP batteries that makes it more stable is the fact that in you know how I've been explaining that in EVs it's a chemical reaction between the terminals of the battery that basically produce energy for the car, where in these LFP batteries it's basically iron and phosphate molecules in the cathode, I believe, and that compared to manganese, cobalt, nickel in other batteries is supposedly a lot safer when it comes to charging and discharging. And here's a fun fact about LFP batteries. You've heard of Tesla, you've heard of BYDs. Tesla actually moved into LFP battery adoption from late 2021, I think, and you've heard of BYD's patented blade battery technology. Yeah, if you look deeper into it, that's actually also LFP batteries. Engine wise, it's a very small engine compartment. Looks like this is coolant hydraulic fluid. And then you come down, there is again a small 12-volt battery here. This orange wire connects to the charger in front. And this is your mini transformer central unit that converts AC into DC from the battery underneath. And from the front, you have the series logo, which doubles as a charging port. There is LEDs and a light bar, which is quite unique in almost any car in Kathmandu. The headlamps are projector headlamps, and you do not have any front grille on the car, but you do have an AC vent at the bottom. Then you have these side lights, more side lights with a very symmetrical design on the mirror here. And what I find most groovy about this car is the design of these roof rails. It really gives it a very unique sort of look out in traffic. And then coming to the back, it's quite a flat back, but this flat shape at the back really maximizes headroom for rear seat occupants. You have a rear passenger window, but this doesn't go down. The front windows are quite large, and the wheels on this car are 13-inch aluminum wheels, and the top variant has disc brakes both on the front as well as in the rear. The base option on the 180 km range version has drum brakes at the rear. So onto the driver's seat. It's a mix of hard plastics and soft to the touch leatherette materials. There are cubby holders here. It cannot fit a big bottle, but it will fit a smaller bottle just fine. You have plasticky door handles, and this is a very nice finishing on the AC vent. Your headlight angle is here, and then your mirror adjustment is on the right side. So coming into the car, you have a 2-spoke driving steering wheel. You do not have the option of moving this in and out, up and down. You do get on the right hand side your headlight controls as well as your indicators. And then on the left hand side you have your wipers, the speed of your wipers basically. As for the steering wheel, you have your cruise control buttons on the left hand side, and you have your media and volume controls on the right hand side. Your power button is also on the right hand side. This is the starting up animation. We'll go over the infotainment and the driver's display in another video. As for buttons on the center console, you have a water bottle holder there, your window buttons, your electronic parking brake and auto hold button is here. You have a central cubby here where you can fit in quite a lot. And then in the rear you have another water bottle holder that will fit in a big water bottle. Your HVAC control buttons are here. These two on the left are your fan speed. You have a mode button. You have another button here, your AC on and off button, and your air circulation. And then you have basically your temperature buttons. This center screen does not show your AC controls, but your driver's display does show your AC controls. Like if you look at the bottom left hand side, you will see the fan speed go up and down, the mode where the air circulation comes out of, whether you want AC on or off, and then you have air circulation. And then as for the temperature, there really isn't a measurement. It's either hot air or cold air. So this is your gear shifter. You have neutral in the middle and reverse. You do have a rear view camera that gives you a distance estimation, and then neutral, and then drive. Drive will automatically put the car in eco mode, but if you long press the shifter down, it'll switch into sports mode. And another quick tap will again put it back into eco mode. It's all manual controls here, so this can be used as your angle, and the way to get your car seat adjusted in front and back is down here. As for the ceiling, you have a rear view mirror, you have a center light, these are speakers, microphones probably, and you have a mirror on the driver's side, and these sun visors are adjustable depending on where the sun is. So on the passenger side, you have a dual blue tone interior. There's a cup holder on this side. You can fit in a smaller size bottle here. You can also fit in a smaller size, a couple of them back here and here. And moving in, the dashboard is blue, and there's this wooden vinyl plastic finishing here, and it's quite a nice treatment of colors on the inside with this golden chrome finishing. There's a net holder instead of a glove box, and you can there's one USB port there to charge, and then there's another USB port down here to charge. You also have like a bag hanger here, a hook to hold your bag. It's pretty cool. Getting at the back seat is not that difficult, and as long as this seat is a bit ahead, there is enough knee room. Foot room is also okay. This is the front seat belt. You have another seat belt at the back here, the rear occupants, and it can easily fit in 2 adults at the back. The rear does get ISOFIX points though. So if you want a baby seat in the back seat, you're boot space wise, there really isn't a lot. It's a compact city car after all, but you can fit in a backpack, 2 backpacks. There is a tire sealant and inflator down here, and how you actually increase the boot space is it's a 50-50 back seat folding mechanism, and with both the seats folded down, there is an ample amount of space to fit in maybe 2 or even 3 large size suitcases at the back. So here's the best part about driving a compact car in the city. Let's face ahead, you can actually fit your car in. It's definitely something you can do with a compact car and not anything bigger. But braking feels quite sturdy. The brake, I don't know if it's a new car, it's quite sensitive. The moment you press the brake even a bit hard, it like immediately clamps on the brake shoe and the discs, and so as a result you have like really good braking even if the car picks up speed. The regen on this car is also pretty decent. Like I don't think you can 1-foot drive per se, just using the accelerator, both go fast and slow down to a complete stop, but it does do a good job of slowing the car down and recuperating that kinetic energy from the spinning wheels back into the battery. I am driving in a road with a fair amount of potholes, and I'm quite surprised by how well cushioned these tiny suspension and dampers are on this car. Like, pretty impressive how it's able to take in all these bumps and potholes. And the clearance was something that I was thinking about. It's just, quote unquote, 140 mm, which, if you think about it, is really not a lot. People typically fear about even 160 mm, 170 mm of ground clearance. It's only when the clearance is above 180, 85, 190, 200, then people are like, oh, that's good and great for Kathmandu. But the thing about this car is that the wheelbase is so short that even if potholes are big and the road is very uneven, the lower clearance really doesn't make much of a difference. So I am on a hill. The car is on auto hold. I don't have my foot or anything on the brake. And now what I'm about to do is I will put my foot on the accelerator, and even on a proper uphill, it doesn't seem that this is lacking. Something I do feel that this is a bit difficult is because these doors are so large. You really have to reach all the way back for your seatbelt if you are a front row occupant. And when you're in a rush, until you develop a habit, it's quite a reach for the seatbelt. It's just me nitpicking though, so I wouldn't be too worried if I were you. And then there's also the lack of a dead pedal in the car, and so your left foot just feels awkward. But this is the best part about the car. Small tight space, your car will, in any other car you'd have a bit of a doubt whether your car will get through it, but in this it just squeezes right through and you don't have to worry too much about it. I will do a quick 0 to 50 test on Ring Road. a quick foot down, you are definitely at your speed. Like, whether in eco mode or in sports mode, your car definitely can do it. I've also been thinking about who this car is for. Like, you can't compare apples and oranges. There is a specific sort of audience that the designers of Cirrus probably thought of when designing such a compact city car. And the car, however, is not built for the highway, so I'm really not gonna press hard on like the slower charging speeds and limited range and the battery and motor capacity, because that's just not what it was built for, and I don't see any merit in comparing apples to oranges in this case. So for the city, it's navigable, it's comfortable, it's spacious on the inside. You can fit 4 adults quite easily, and even with the weight of 4 adults, the motor is powerful enough that it will pull it ahead. If you have the sole intention of driving in the city and making it more tolerable, less taxing, then this is definitely a car for you. So here's a fun fact about Series as a company. The name, the word Series, S-E-R-E-S, if you noticed, I don't know if you noticed, is actually palindrome. That means S-E-R-E-S will have the same meaning if read from the front or the back. And so that's quite unique. Some other palindrome words that I can think of right now are kayak, K-A-Y-A-K, and noon, N-O, and you can read it front and back. Something else that's interesting about Series is that the S in Series stands for silicon. Yeah, you heard that right. Silicon as in the Silicon Valley, where this company was established back in about 2016, before it expanded globally, and now it has factories and hubs in China, Indonesia, and in America, where it all started off. The E in Series stands for electric vehicle, and the R stands for range extended. So Series fundamentally has building EVs in its DNA, if you think about it. It's pretty cool, isn't it?